Okay, so I wanted to get started asking about the development of the script for the film and what really inspired you to write the script for the film, and what was that process like of really getting the story?
Well, it was a combination of a couple of things. It was sort of, my personal experience of having a kind of strange high school reunion with a couple of people that I hadn't seen in a few years, and just the feelings that that brought up. And also my love of Patricia Highsmith, particularly the talented Mr. Ripley. Um, and and I just, also I just really like sort of tales, tales being spun, this idea of tales that are sort of reveal themselves to you. And so I was looking to do something like that.
And then after writing the script, what was your experience like going on to directing the film, and how did working on the story influence your directing on set as
Well, it was, it was COVID, so that was tricky to get it going, and to get the money, and then um to get any actor willing to come and shoot with us. That was the trickiest part, because we had a production services company. We had everything ready to go, and we were trying to get people to come, DPs and actors and stuff, to come with us, and everybody was like, no way, because of COVID. So that was kind of
well?
tricky. But once there was, as if you recall, there was these ebbs and flows of COVID, and we had this luckily we had this window in the summer and fall of 2021. And we were able to do it. And so, the whole time we were just trying to be as efficient and careful as possible. And yeah, so it was sort of, it was an interesting climate to be shooting the film.
Also, speaking about the casting for the film, I was about to also ask about that experience and what was your process like in really determining who you wanted to work with, and who would agree to star in the film as well.
Um, yeah, so we sent the film out to Nick Stahl, who loved it and wanted to do it, and that really unlocked everything. And then in terms of the other casting, everything was done through our casting agents, and people had sent through tapes, and we just did it that way, sort of through the open casting process.
And once everyone signed on to star in the film, what was your collaboration with, like, with the cast to really build their characters? Were you able to speak with them before filming began about really building the characters as well?
Yeah, we talked about the characters and who they were and where they came from and what their point of view was. And I think, the probably the most challenging part of it was trying to find the right tone, for all the characters, so they felt like they were in the same movie. And so that was just a process. Usually what happened was that we would be shooting the first scene for a character in the film, and it would be a matter of sort of just during rehearsals in the first couple of takes, just finding a way to make sure that that character was hitting at the right pitch or tone. And once we'd done that, the collaboration between myself and the actor, once we'd found that, then that was it for the rest of the movie. They would just run with that.
And once you got to set, what was your collaboration like with the cast in terms of really creating the physicality and the space of the set, and really figuring out how you wanted them to approach the physicality in general as well?
Well, I had storyboarded the whole movie, and which was really helpful. And then after that, so that was like one version of the movie, and then we'd get to set, and that morning I'd come through and I talked to the actors about the ideas that I had about blocking, and what I was thinking that they should do, and then we'd rehearse it. And if they wanted to change it and made more sense, then we'd do that. And so it was a collaboration between sort of what I'd planned to do and then the reality of what was kind of making more sense, which is always the thing I think about filmmaking, is that it's good to be prepared and have a plan, but ultimately it needs to be authentic in the actual moment. So yeah, it was fairly straightforward.
And also in terms of blocking and storyboarding, like you just mentioned, and also you mentioned earlier working with your cinematographer, what was that experience like as well, and really figuring out how you wanted to visually shoot the film as
I had developed some rules to begin the film. We limited our focal lengths. We had very specific colors in mind that had representation for ideas in the film. Um, I also didn't want any handheld in the movie, and I pretty much just wanted to have motivated camera movement rather than, because I felt like that would make it feel sort of more real. And also it would, in a way, it would like not um, manipulate an audience, and rather just instead it would just sort of like let the things unfold. So that was kind of like the ideas. And then again, I guess I'd have a shot in mind and I'd show it to Matteo, who was our cinematographer, and we'd talk about it and the actors would start doing it. And with the three of us, we'd just sort of figure out the best way to do it. I think that we like any, I guess like any project, is that after a while there tends to be a style that kind of develops, that the film is kind of telling you that it wants to be. And so we started following that style, I imagine, towards the end.
And with the majority of the story being set in the house and the surrounding neighborhood, how did you decide where you wanted to shoot the film and really how the house and the property would look as well?
Yeah, so the house had to be really amazing, because of in the script that's sort of essential. And I was quite adamant that we find an environment that was sort of more than aspirational, that was sort of like something that when we see it we think, wow, that was like not just a nice environment but something sort of beyond that. And so that was a process of looking at lots of pictures initially, that the production services company was sending me before I got to Colombia, and nothing was working. And we actually found another place that fulfilled the brief, but it was it was so difficult to get to, and the road to get there was so bumpy, and it would take forever, and it was an issue with the grass around it, and it just was, the universe was telling us not to shoot there, despite it looking incredible and it working creatively. Just logistically it wasn't going to work. And so when we found the actual location, I knew immediately, and so I was very excited. And actually, the main location is another character in this film for sure.
Besides writing and directing the film, I also saw that you were also one of the producers and wanted to ask about that experience and what was your process like of really balancing the directing and producing?
So I had been trying to get movies going for a long time between my first film and this film, and I had a few almost happen, and then it got to a point where I was just like, I just got to stop relying on other people. I got to just do this myself. So that's why I produced it. And I raised the money with my wife, and I raised the money, and then I enlisted a couple of other producers that I've been working with on another project to help, and they were very useful to get things going, casting and post production particularly. And then look, honestly, I felt like the whole thing was just one experience, the writing, directing, producing, and I also edited the film. And so it's just this feeling of, it's like a bit like when you're making, when I was making Super 8 movies or Video 8 movies when I was a kid, it's just like, or you're, you're doing it all because you care, and you're doing it all. So yeah, you just deal with the problems that come, and you put all, you try and be as intelligent as you can, and it is what it is.
Also, like you just mentioned, you also edited the film, and I wanted to ask about that experience as well and how you approached putting the final version of the film together.
Well, I have an editing background. That's how I started in film, and so I really enjoy editing. And I kind of feel like it's connected to the writing and the directing. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about editing when I'm shooting. Um, like I'm knowing what I need and stuff. So look, I love the editing. I enjoyed the process of doing it a lot. I was doing it just alone. Um, and it was great. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the editing was the most enjoyable parts of the film. It was just this, because it's this moment where you have photographed the film, and you have what you have, and there's no more sort of speculation, and it just is what it is, and you have to make the best version with what you have, and there's a real immediate creative uh, craft that's involved in it that I enjoy.
Besides the cinematography, I also wanted to ask about the score for the film and what that process was like of really incorporating the sound of the score into the film as well.
Yeah, so Jeff Russo and Tracy Turnbull did the music for this film, and Jeff and Tracy had worked together. They'd worked together a lot. Jeff was as a composer and Tracy as as an orchestrator. Um, and when I was talking to Jeff about this at the beginning, he was like, he played me some stuff that he had done in terms of, and he sort of was asking me, well, what of the work that I've done before, what is the stuff that's like, you feel is relevant to this? And I picked this piece that he'd done. And he actually said, well, I did that with Tracy, and so would you like Tracy could we do this with Tracy? And I was like, absolutely. So the two of them worked on it together. And it was a really enjoyable process because they are incredibly talented, and they were able, they would send me cues and I would make notes on those cues, and then they would send me revisions of those things. I mean, it was just a wonderful email experience that I had with them over the summer of last year. But I know that we had talked early on about having a theme for the movie, like a musical theme, that because in the way that I limited the focal lengths and I limited the color, I like the idea of having this sort of music that also had a consistency running through it. So trying to discover that theme was very exciting. And then when we found the melodic theme that the film has, that was just a great moment, because then it was we all recognized that we're like, well, this could be it, this melodic. So they ended up using these like two bars that they'd done in one cue and then sort of interspersing it through the whole film.
Also, I wanted to ask about the costume design. Like throughout the film, I thought that the different outfits the characters were really reflective of like their background and motivations. And what was that collaboration like with the costume designers to create that ones?
Yeah, so Lena was a terrific costume designer in Bogota, and we absolutely talked about the characters and where they're coming from and what their life is like outside of this, and trying to you know have the costumes be representational of their personality. We also had our very sort of fixed ideas about color and what color meant in this movie, and so certain colors were out. And like, so for example, Nick is wearing blue through the beginning of the film, because blue represents like the ordinary world for him, and he's sort of dying to be yellow. That's what he's trying to get. He's always trying to get yellow. And so in the production design and the costume design, we sort of work towards that. And it was a lot of fun, like finding for example, like finding Imogen's dress that she wears at the dinner and what that was going to look like. And Lena came up with this idea of it all being triangles, which was very exciting. And she does that with the jewelry she's wearing and the shape of the dress. So yeah, it was definitely a collaboration between Lena and myself.
Now with the film having its US premiere at Fantastic Fest later this week, what's that experience been like as well, and gearing up to attend the festival and share with audiences there as well?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think I mean, with indie movies, you don't get a chance necessarily to have a film in a cinema. So film festivals are a chance to do that. We premiered at Fantastic Fest and sorry, Fantasia. And that was I was there for that, and that was really great to be in the audience. And we're playing Fantastic Fest on Friday, and I'm also going to be there for that, and I can't wait. I'm really excited to be with the audience, watching it with them, because I think this film is entertaining, and I think that's so that I'm looking forward to experiencing it with them.
After the Fantastic Fest screenings, do you have any other festivals coming up for the film or other terms of release that you can also discuss?
Yeah, so after Fantastic Fest, we're playing in a few festivals in the UK. We're playing Grimfest in Manchester. We're playing Celluloid Screams in Sheffield. We're playing Horathon in Dublin. Rising Sun in Japan. We're playing A Night of Horror in Sydney. And I don't know in terms of an actual release yet, but yeah, there's definitely some more festivals to come.
Okay, I think that was mainly it, but thank you again for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Of course, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks again.